I'm going to make a really bold claim here, and that is going to be that Atomfall is Game of the Year. Now, I know it's really early in the year, we still have Doom coming out, and we have, of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. I truly think Atomfall deserves to be Game of the Year. And that's not because Doom's going to be bad or Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be bad, although Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be bad, but that's a different video. But rather, Atomfall does everything just right. Now, it does have some flaws, so, it's not a 10 out of 10 perfect masterpiece, but for what it is and what they were trying to make, it is truly a great experience. First, I have to gush about how the game starts, because that's how every game starts, at the very, very beginning. In modern games, I have made this complaint over and over. Way too many games fall into the trap of wanting to tell a story, which, no problem, I like story in gaming, but it makes you watch a 10-minute cutscene, and then you start the game, and then you get a 5-minute cutscene, and then you have 10 minutes of dialogue, and then you get a 6-minute cutscene, and then you get 10 minutes of dialogue, and then you get a 20-minute cutscene, and then after 2 hours, you can finally start to play the game. And I hate that. I'm playing a game because I want to play a game. If I wanted to play a movie, I would watch a movie. You watch maybe a 1-minute cutscene and then you're just thrust into the world and expected to go figure it out. And I love this. I absolutely love that you don't know what's going on because your character doesn't know what's going on. You don't have any hidden knowledge. You know as much as your character does about the game. And you discover a lot about the world through environmental storytelling, which is just peak. It shows you, it doesn't tell you. As you're looking around, you find a lot of skeletons that'll have like one bullet and a revolver next to them. You'll find houses with lockdowns and lots of little scribblings all over them that tell you about the world you live in. If you listen to the NPCs talking to each other, they'll give you a little insight to how the different groups and factions think, or their goals, or what are they doing, what are they after. And you can basically go anywhere you want to from the start. You can just get immersed in the world. It's truly an open world experience. If you want to ignore the main quest and just go explore the different locations or see what you can find, often it's available to you. There are a few areas you can't access until you've progressed the story enough to have a couple different tools, but for the most part, the world actually feels open. It feels like there's no boundaries. You can just go and see. And it's so strange to see so many reviews of people complaining that, well, I got lost easy, or it doesn't tell me exactly where to go, or I can't teleport from location to location. I actually have to walk around in the world. Like, why are you playing an open world game if you just want to teleport around the map and you want to ignore the open world and have a linear experience? Like, to me, that review doesn't make sense that, well, it's an open world non-linear game, but I wanted a closed world linear experience. Like, it's fine to have preferences, but I don't exactly understand why you're knocking the game for not being something that it's not. I will say the most valid criticism I've seen for the game is that the AI is not so great. The enemies definitely aren't the smartest. I'll throw this clip up here where you can see that there's about 4 enemies in the distance and I'm plinking at them with a rifle. I'm very obviously missing a terrible aim here. Please ignore the terrible aim. But they just kind of stand there and take it. Like, I don't know if the stealth here is actually working, but you see there's a red bar, so they see me at some point. So, like, they see I'm over here, but rather than coming in and fighting back, they're just kind of standing there waiting for me to take them down with the rifles. So definitely not the smartest AI. I will say this only happened to me once or twice, so it seems to be an actual like glitch and not intentional. So it's not every enemy, but it does give you the idea that it is not perfect. What I do love about the enemies is that they respawn and they don't give you any experience for taking them down. This isn't the kind of game where you just grind the mobs and get a bunch of abilities. Rather, the abilities you get are rewards for exploring the world. This means that you're actually encouraged to have a survival experience. You don't have to fight every enemy you see. It doesn't have to end in bloodshed, and rather you have to ask yourself, well, is it worth the resources to take out this group of enemies, or do I need to find a different way around? The combat is very basic. You just got basically an attack and a heavy attack and like a kick the enemy back sort of thing. So you'll find yourself getting hurt often. And I find that intentional. A lot of people are mad that there's not like a super block or things that make it so you don't take damage at all if you have quote skill or quick reactions. But the thing is that the fights are supposed to drain your resources. They're supposed to be these life or death situations. So if you had an easy way to trivialize every single fight, well, it wouldn't be as good. Here's that AI I was talking about again. This guy's using a bow and he let me just pull out a revolver and reload it and give him a quick pop. So again, it's not perfect. These bow enemies though, they are a huge disaster. If they hit you twice, you're gone. Like that bow is deadly. So again, it's that thought of, okay, there's two bow users. Do I actually want to engage in this fight, or do I want to avoid this fight because I would risk taking too much damage and I don't have enough healing items to handle that right now? The music is the appropriate kind of aesthetic, spooky. Like, this isn't an action game. You're not having constant action music pumped in. It's appropriate for what it is, although I will say it's nothing that like I'm going to go probably listen to on my own. Like, I probably wouldn't buy the original soundtrack for this game, but it's appropriate for the setting and fitting, so I like it well enough. I also really appreciate that the game seems to give you a lot of options for solving problems. You'll get a lot of quests that have options for how to do them, whether you just want to walk in the front door, whether you want to go in the back door. There also seems to be some decisions you can make. Now, don't hold me to this because I've only played the game probably about 5 or 6 hours, so I haven't done multiple run-throughs at this point, but it does look like quests can be completed in different ways, such as reporting to one person or not reporting to another person, and this can change the way maybe the villagers interact with you or the way the world is, so it does seem like there are some choices with consequences within the game. I'll give an example here, but spoilers obviously, so if you don't want spoilers, make sure you click away now. When you first get into the village, the general of the village will tell you that there's something going on with the baker and he wants you to check in on her. And when you go talk to her, she basically tells you nothing important. If you go and explore her house, you'll find her bedroom is locked and you'll hear strange sounds going on the other side of the bedroom. Now, you can talk to her, you probably won't get anything from it, or you could go find the key, which is located somewhere around in back, maybe a shed or something like that, to open it up and see what's going on. Or you can just take her out and take the key off of her and then go into the bedroom and solve the problem and report that to the general. I appreciate that there's multiple approaches to it. If you want to be that violent, well, I'm going to solve this problem and just take out all the problems, or hey, I'm going to stealth around and see if I can find an easier solution in here without harming anyone. I've also seen a lot of negative reviews for this game, that there's no like customization, that there's no DLC, that there's no skins to download. Again, it seems strange to me that people want this single player experience to be something that's not. This isn't a RPG where you're customizing your character, you were playing a very certain character. This is a single player game, so we don't need skins or outfits or DLCs or paid content like that. I appreciate that it seems to be a complete package all in one, that you don't have all the extras that seem to come in modern day gaming, and it doesn't appear to have a tacked on multiplayer that no one asked for. Now, if you do go and explore the world a bunch, you will find yourself having to backtrack as you explore the world and actually get the main quest. You'll see you have to go back to areas. As I said, there are some areas that aren't accessible until you move the story forward. So once you access those areas, you'll have to go back to where you already were. For some people, that's a frustrating experience, but for me, I actually enjoy it because the world feels so vibrant and alive, and there's so much stuff to find that often I found as I'm backtracking, like, oh, I missed this, or I didn't go into this nook or cranny, or I didn't see this here, so I don't mind the backtracking. Again, I don't want to just teleport around the map and go to point of interest. I want to be in a living world, and that's what I'm getting here, is a world that is very vibrant and full of little secrets to explore, little notes to find, and little environmental storytelling that's telling me more about the world that I live in. I love that every enemy you take out drops their weapon, and there's a huge variety of weapons, so if you want to play with a fast but bleed heavy knife, you can. If you want to play with the big heavy mace, which is my personal favorite, you can for big attacks that are slow but do a lot of damage. You can use the rifle, you can use the pistol, you can use the shotgun, you can use the bow. There's a lot of options for how you want to approach situations, and because your inventory is limited, you can't always have every option on you, which means a lot of actually prepping and figuring out, okay, this is where I want to go, and this is what I think I will need. Especially if you're fighting the giant robots, those dudes completely change the way that you're playing the game and how you're fighting, and again, that can be such a good thing to change it up and say, okay, I need to use these weapons, or I need to make sure that I stockpile this particular ammo so that I can take down these enemies when I go that area. Now, if you just watched my Monster Hunter review, you'll know that I complained about Chore Hunter about having to prep for fights, so let me explain the difference here. This is fun. In the original Monster Hunter, when you have to go prep for a fight, it means you have to slowly go through a loading screen, walk over here, go through a loading screen, slowly gather the herb, slowly gather the herb, slowly gather the herb, walk over here, slowly climb this, walk over there, slowly climb this, grab this one item that you need, go through 5 different menus, combine it into one potion, now you've got one potion. That feels like a chore. Here, the prep is, okay, I'm going to explore these areas to get the items that I need, and I'm going to go to the interchange tube system to grab the weapons I need. It's much snappier, and it feels much faster and more rewarding. And here's the best part about the game. I know that it's a full price game, and I would not mind paying full price for this game. I highly recommend it even at full price. But it's on Game Pass, so if you've got a PC or Xbox, you can go get it right now on Game Pass for what, $9 a month? If you don't, you can always grab GameFly. I'm not sponsored, I really enjoy their service, and rent it from there. So you don't even have to pay full price for the game if you don't want to. So when you put it in that perspective of, wow, you can get all this that I've talked about that's great for $9, like that is an absolute steal for a wonderful game. Will it actually win Game of the Year? No, I don't think it stands a chance. I think the negative reviews for the bad AI and the fact that it's going to be competing against Doom, Monster Hunter Wilds, and Grand Theft Auto 6 means this game is going to quickly be forgotten. I don't think that it's going to stand the test of time, but you should enjoy it for what it is, and especially, like I said, you can get it for cheap and enjoy it on Game Pass. You should experience it definitely. The last thing I'll touch on is this game was really hyped up as like Fallout but set in Britain, and I definitely don't think you should go into this expecting Fallout. It is not a Fallout game. I can see kind of where people are trying to draw the comparisons, but I think if you go in expecting this to be Fallout 5 or like Fallout New Vegas, I think you're going to greatly disappoint yourself. Again, not because it's not a great game, but because it's not Fallout. So if you go in expecting to be Fallout, I don't think you're going to enjoy it fully. So that is a little disclaimer for you. The last thing I'm going to touch on is the stealth. A lot of reviews will tell you that the stealth is broken, and the jury is kind of out on whether or not the stealth is broken or not. The game seems to be heavily based on line of sight, in that if you're crouched down in quote stealth mode and an enemy is looking right at you, it doesn't matter how good your stealth is, they're going to see you because they can see you. It says rather that it's based on like sound, that like if you're creeping behind them, they're not in your line of sight, then if they can't hear you, you will successfully stealth around them. I've definitely had situations where I felt like I was making no noise and they just randomly saw me. The line of sight has also felt a little janky, so I can't say whether or not for sure the stealth system actually works. I have successfully stealthed around people. I've also failed stealth where I felt like I should be stealthing, so there does seem to be a little bit of jankiness with it, but it's serviceable and it will work, and once you kind of get the hang of it, you'll manage it. I won't say that it's the best stealth system I've ever seen in a game, but it works for what it is, and again, it overall doesn't detract from the game, which is important because most games are going to have their flaws. Again, I'm not telling you this is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It definitely has some flaws, but it's still one of the best experiences I've had in gaming in a long time. With all that said, thank you as always for watching, and have a blessed day.